Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is entitled At Your Door. It's written by Ellen Eisenwill, Mark Morrison, Barbara Manui, Chris Adams, Scott D. Anielowski, and Herbert Hike. I'm your game master, and this is episode 12. Our recap will be given by David Gasaway as his character, Dr. Desmond Flores. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. David?
Well, Mr. Slakes, Mr. Jadek, the last couple of days have been more eventful than I could have foreseen. After being lied to thoroughly by the good people at Dawn Biozyme, we engaged in our first significant guerrilla action. Early in the morning, the day before yesterday, we took ladders and entered the facility. We investigated both the second warehouse, Lab P7, and discovered, in fact, a third secret lab. Dr. Leach and I found some paperwork in Dr. Finley's office that was incriminating. We also found a secret tunnel from the P7 lab from which we took a sample of a milky pink fluid that they're considering to be some sort of serum, XD. And through the tunnel, we entered Warehouse 2, where Doctors Mills and Evans had found strange, substantial black rock in a pit surrounded by various technology. The whole Warehouse 2 smelled terrible. Before we could determine much more, a klaxon sounded. Dr. Carlisle informed us that security had already departed, and the klaxon was to indicate the beginning of an experiment, which resulted in, a terrifying apparition. And further, when Dr. Mills damaged one of the magnets that was used to contain the stone or entity in the pit, it escaped. It is, I believe, the Divine Mother herself, the font of all creation, that was being held there and used. The pink milky fluid was being extracted from this being, which is now gone. Furthermore, we learned that it was the origin, or she was the origin of the tree stump-like creatures. Apparently, without its milk, they perish. So I think we can consider the escapee to be no longer a threat. We managed to make it back to the hotel. It took a little while to recover from the shock of what had occurred. And there were more surprises to come. Since then, we've learned that the Old English or medieval text that we have from Noelle's apartment is from a book called De Vermis Mysterii, written nearly 1,000 years ago by a mysterious figure called Ludwig Prien. And most recently, we have learned from a phone call from Detective Jackson that Noelle's van has been found by a civilian. It's totaled, but not burned. She's not in it. And so we're headed out to Squamish County to find Noelle and Jenny and see what happens in the dark of the moon.
Cool. A couple of things that I don't want to correct you, but I'll correct you. It wasn't a van, it's just a car. And there was something else. No, I can't think of what it was. It's not important.
We know that that Finley was sending the fluid or serum to Toronto to a company called Rothmer's Home. We think he's fled town since the place blew up after the thing escaped. It's a very dense episode. So we think we might be going to to investigate what's happening in Toronto if things here get resolved.
Right. So I don't know if we want to say this is the evening or the next morning. What's your move? What do you want to do next? We'll say it's the next morning. The Lieutenant Paul Jackson is going to be heading out of town at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. And he figures it'll only take him about 85 minutes to get to Loam, which in your experience, he will obviously be speeding and flashing his sirens just because he can. It'll take you a little while longer. Sorry,
I'll go, right, because he's able to speed, and he's able to use his lights to get there faster. But I don't want him uncovering anything or messing with anything without us being there. So I think I might ride over there with him, like I said that I would.
Well, your other option would be that you could leave earlier.
Yeah,
that's true.
I was thinking, we could cover both their bases, Margaret. You could ride with him, and the rest of us could go out early. That way, if something happens, we get lost.
Or if just listening to what he's saying, I mean, even though I'm sure most of it will be not terribly beneficial, who knows? He might know something that we don't. So
yeah, he might not know what he knows, for that matter.
Yeah.
And Loam, the place you're heading for is the sheriff's office in Loam.
Okay.
And Loam is the next town after Delilah. So you're going to pass Delilah, and then you'll come to Loam.
And is Loam on the way to Renuncion?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Delilah, then Loam, then Renuncion.
Very good.
And the sheriff's office is in Loam. Well, the sheriff covers that whole area. Oh, I know what it was. Squamish County. Sampson is in Squamish County. The whole region is Squamish County.
Mm.
Okay. Since we're planning on staying out there till the dark of the moon, did we want to make a reservation at a bed and breakfast out there? That way we're not driving back in the middle of the night tired.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Good option.
All right. We'll do that. And then
I didn't know if I want to stay in Delilah.
No, I don't want to stay in Delilah. That place is no.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Let's see if we can find something in Loam or Renuncion.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to see a walking scarecrow.
You can look in the phone book, and you find that there is a motel in Renuncion called Laverne's Motel.
Okay. Well, surely they've got a room, so
hopefully a few.
Yeah. So we'll give them a call. If they got a room, I'll book in. I'll give them the company's card if we have it, or the account number, whatever it was back then.
Okay. Well, yeah, you've got your credit card for whatchamacallit. Okay. All right. Are you going? Is that what you're going to do? Is one of you going to go with the policeman, and the other, or is they going to go out there earlier?
Yeah, so I'll go with the policeman.
If you can tolerate his company for 85 minutes, I think it's a good plan.
I think I can manage it.
Just try not to curse or take the Lord's name in vain.
I'll try my best.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, we'll assume that this is happening then. Before I say that, though, is there anything you guys want to do before you go? I should give you
Does everybody have those papers that we copied?
Yes.
Yep, got those.
I think we should throw them away.
Why?
Think?
Well, think about it. Look at what we've encountered so far. If whatever those words, if they're helping us via that thing, I don't think that we should mess with it.
Electricity? Explosion and electricity.
No. I'm talking about the spell.
Right.
I think having read it helped me understand what they had trapped in the warehouse. I don't think it's anything to fear. I mean, I take that back. I think it's something to stand in awe of. But if it's going to make the difference between our surviving this escapade or not, I don't think it's, if you believe that it's evil in some way, I think you're confused, misguided.
Whatever it is, it doesn't belong here.
It's more my concern that it could fall into the wrong hands. But as I said before we went to Dawn Biozyme, I don't think most people who ran across it would even try to read it or think it was anything other than gibberish.
Well, they might try to read it out loud.
Well, and
if we're going to do anything with it, I would recommend we just lock it up somewhere.
Yeah, they should have hotel safes. We could lock it in, or we could lock it in.
Leave it in a locked filing cabinet in Jadik's office.
Yeah.
We're also looking for Noelle, and we know she's memorized it.
Yeah. We know she's not worried about using it.
No, even for a bat, for laughs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna.
Although I don't know that. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'll make sure the tranquilizer gun is in the case, cleaned up and ready to go.
And Desmond, would you describe? Did you feel twice as energetic? Could you put a number on? You're muted.
It was more than twice. It's hard to quantify because it felt very natural.
Okay.
But thinking about just holding out a car battery in each hand and standing there for 5 minutes, that doesn't seem like an intimidating challenge. So it was an order of magnitude more powerful. I don't know that I could have leapt a tall building or run faster than a speeding train. But again, it's called an endurance chant. So I had all the stamina I could imagine having. I could not have been exhausted.
Yeah, we might take that into account when we if we have to use the tranquilizer. Take that into account when we make dosage.
Yeah, and again, if we have to confront Noelle, if it is a matter of confrontation, if she has ill intent, I think she's misguided. I could be wrong. She could be on a very profound path that we don't understand. But if it is a matter of confrontation, I think being able to match her in that regard might be significant.
I think running would be the most significant.
As we've seen, there's some things that doesn't pay to run from.
Okay. All right. So.
And we'll put together in the back of the SUV the basic kit from our break-in, some gloves, the crowbar, flashlights, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe some rope.
Yeah, I like some rope. That's always a good idea. And we'll pick up a map of see if we can find a map, because I assume we're going up into the mountains way the Sasquatch Society described it, maybe like a topographical map or something like that. So,
yeah, you can get a topographical map, and you can get a sort of rudimentary map of the area when you get out there. But there seems to be only one or two major roads that go out there and continue on into the Central Valley.
Okay.
All right. Reminds me, is Loam on the fault line if it's between Renuncion and Delilah?
Loam
all this talk of where the fault line falls.
Let's see. Loam is on the west side. Renuncion is on the east side of the fault.
Okay.
Loam is also there are minor faults too that break off from the San Andreas. Loam is near one.
All right.
It's the Sabadoria Striata fault that breaks off right there. All right.
Let's ride.
So, Margaret, your experience is not very pleasant. Although the lieutenant tries to be somewhat charming, he comes across as rather arrogant. He tries to show off his driving skills by going way too fast and enjoying the siren way too much, and makes comments on the fact that people have to get the hell out of his way. And he's got a thing. He's convinced that Noel Rand is probably involved in some kind of cult, witchcraft or Satan worshiping or something. There was definitely stuff inside of her house that led him to believe that, and that it would be a big boon for him if he were to actually be able to, stop some sort of child murdering cult. Or
as would be a major boon. Great benefit to society.
Oh yeah. Now he mentions a couple of things to you that along the way. One is that he found a correlation between Noel Rand and Ginny Armbruster's bank records, that money was coming out of Armbruster's account and going into Noel's. Not large amounts, but unless you want to hazard a guess as to why, you could do an idea roll. If you pass it, I'll tell you what you think. But you can't just think for yourself.
Yeah, well, just 52 is a pass.
Yeah. Well, if Ginny is in the condition that you guys think that she's in, she can't go out buying stuff like food and stuff for herself. So she's transferring money to Noel to take care of whatever her needs might be. The other thing that's even more interesting, no, that's it. There was nothing else. I had two points, but you already know they found her car. All right. So
at least it wasn't a total waste. We learned something.
Yeah. The rest of you are driving, and you actually left quite a bit earlier. Mm-hmm. So you pull into the town of Loam. It's a fairly decent sized little town. There's a couple of places to stay. There's a drugstore and a grocery store. Nothing big. And you can see the sheriff's office is, down the street at one side. But it's still fairly early. You expect the others to be here, probably in the next 15 minutes or so.
Okay. Is there like a little diner where we can get a cup of coffee and maybe try and listen to local gossip?
Sure. Yeah. There's a little place named Alice's that
nice
go into. And Alice serves you coffee and I don't know, whatever you want for breakfast.
Coffee's fine. Maybe a piece of toast. That's all I need there, Alice. Thank you.
It's like, sure thing, hon.
It's good coffee. Good coffee. So anything exciting happen out here? We're coming out. We're gonna stay the night and all.
Nothing much around here. Are you California folks? Are you from somewhere else?
I'm from down there at I teach at the University of California, so closer to
Ah.
the coast and all. Thought I'd get away and come up here and just see some beautiful parts of our great state.
Well, Professor, you picked a rotten time with all this heat and earthquakes going on.
Yeah, well, those vacations between the semesters, you don't get to pick when those occur, unfortunately.
But you did pick a pretty part of the state.
It is. You got any silly little local legends or anything around here? It's always interesting to
What do you mean?
read about that.
People, this is what they call Bigfoot country.
Oh, it is. Oh, surely.
Yeah, well, most of the mountainous areas in California are called Bigfoot country.
Yeah. You ever seen one?
Nah.
Nah. Yeah. It seems more like a little nice little tale to tell people, maybe bring it out here and all. But that'd be cool to find one, right?
I don't know. It's something like, even when you live in the woods, and we all kind of live in the woods, you get a little nervous at night when you look out into the darkness, and you never know what can be out there looking back at you.
Oh well, yeah. I hadn't thought of that. Give me the creeps there, Alice.
I once saw something. I had some noise out by my garbage. I walked out there and I shined my flashlight, and halfway up my hill there was two little eyes staring at me, and I thought that it was maybe a cat or maybe a raccoon or something. And I made a noise, and it ran a little bit further up the hill, and it stared at me. And it did this a couple times, and I knew right about where it was, and I thought maybe it was a foot or two off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, those two eyes staring at me went, and then blinked out, and they were gone. And I don't have a goddamn clue what the hell that was.
Oh my goodness! Oh, when was that? Oh my!
Years ago.
Oh, years ago. Okay, yeah.
It was probably a deer.
Maybe. Oh, that is creepy.
I'll tell you, it raised the hairs on the back of my neck.
Did you get coyotes up here?
No, not so much. It's a little dry for them. I mean, it's a little wet for them. They're more down in the desert area. But I suppose sometimes they might get up here. Coyotes, bobcats, occasional mountain lions I've heard of. Nobody ever sees those. Bear. Mostly farms out in the valleys, though.
Yeah.
Cows and goats and things.
Yeah. It's a hell of a story and all.
Can I get anything else for you, hon?
No. We just dropped in. We're waiting for a friend of ours to get here, and I thought, well, let's try the local coffee, and I'm glad I did. It's delicious.
I will sure take your time.
Mm-hmm.
And about that time, you see a police car pull in. Its lights have finally turned off, and
He probably passed us 25 minutes ago.
you see it pull up into the parking lot of the sheriff's station just across the street.
Siren's still going.
And you see Margaret get out, and Lieutenant Paul Jackson get out as well.
Is Margaret ashen?
Yeah.
No, she looks maybe she probably sees your car and you guys kind of realize that she's a little irritated.
All right. I'll leave a couple bucks on the counter for the coffee and get up.
Have a nice day. Come back sometime.
We will. Thank you. Margaret, good to see you.
Yes, I see that you made it in one piece.
Yeah.
As did you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad we all made it in one piece.
Look forward to hearing about your trip. Lieutenant Jackson, I'm Desmond Flores.
Ah, you got here before me. How'd you manage that?
Early birds.
That's cheating. Well, let's go in and see what the sheriff has to say.
Thanks for allowing us to tag along.
So he steps inside, and as you guys are going through the door, there's a receptionist behind the desk, lady, and she's like, "Good morning, Lieutenant Jackson," and he says, "Good morning, Molly." He says, "Is the sheriff in yet?" And she says, "Yeah, he's in the back." He says, "So my friends and I are here to talk about the car that was found in the ravine." She says, "Well, go on back. The sheriff's back there." So he sort of motions for you guys to follow.
Okay.
And the sheriff is sitting in his office. It looks like a cross between a sheriff and a mountain man. He's got a full beard and a mustache. He's wearing his uniform, but you can see that he has red and black flannel underneath. And he's sipping on a coffee and eating a donut. And as Lieutenant Jackson steps into the room, he says, "Paul," this is, "Sheriff." He says, "Who are these people?" He's like, "These are people from San Damiel. They're also looking for Miss Rand." And he says, "Well, come on inside.
Right.
I can tell you what I know. Have a seat. Make yourselves comfortable. Can I have somebody get you coffee?"
Oh, yes, please.
Molly, could you bring us some coffee in here? Sure thing.
Just water for me, thanks.
So we got a call from a Mr. Charles Cartwright. He lives in a trailer up in the hills. Says that he goes for lots of long walks. And he looked down into the valley below and saw there was a car that was damaged, that had fallen into the ravine. So he tells us that he climbed down to the ravine, and he said the car was pretty torn up, but there was no body inside. But he did find a wallet, which gave the identification of Miss Rand. There was a suitcase with clothing. There was there was no blood. There was anywhere, and there was a cardboard box, and inside the cardboard box was a printout, dot matrix printout of some sort of book written in Latin. And Lieutenant Jackson's like, "I knew it. She must be a devil worshiper."
Oh, well, Lieutenant. I mean, Latin's also the language of science. I mean, it doesn't mean it's devil worshiper. I mean, it could be. Could be. Don't want to shoot it down, but
I was just talking to a college friend of mine about old Latin texts, so it'd be interesting to see if it had any correlation, and if not, I could probably have it identified free of charge.
Yeah, I can read Latin, so.
Well,
Sheriff, have you examined the car yet?
I haven't actually been out there yet. My deputy's been out there. They're just waiting for me to have given to give the word to haul it out of the ravine.
Did the deputy say anything about any unusual damage to the car?
Yeah. I mean, it looks almost like the roof got torn off, maybe by a tree or something as it went down. But odd thing is there's no blood.
Yeah.
and no body.
From where it was found in the ravine, was it obvious where it went off the road?
Yes, yeah.
And is
There's an old forestry road.
Mhm.
Mr. Cartwright lives on that road.
Do you know Mr. Cartwright before this?
Chuck, yeah, I mean, well, I've run into him a couple of times.
He's a straight fellow, as far as you know.
Yeah, I think he's a scientist. I don't know what it's called. I think he's into snakes.
Hmm.
And
Maybe.
but he's a fairly good-looking black guy. He lives up there. I think I think it's more work than anything else.
Interesting. So if Miss Rand, let's say, so I'm speculating, right? So let's say somebody carjacked Miss Rand, and that's why she left her wallet behind and her box full of papers and her suitcase. If somebody drove the car off the road there, could they walk anywhere, or would they just be in the middle of nowhere?
I suppose they could follow the ravine down. They'd eventually come out.
And if Miss Rand had some kind of accident where she fell out of the vehicle, she wouldn't be able to. I mean, she'd be in the middle of nowhere too, right?
Well, here's the thing: if she fell out of the vehicle before it crashed, and let's say her body got flung a distance, it's possible we'll never find it. It is wilderness out there. It's also possible that an animal could come along and drag her off.
It's a grim thought.
Bears or mountain lions will take advantage of something like that. They do the same to a deer or an elk. In any case, I honestly don't see any reason why we shouldn't just bring the car back here. There's not much to see out there.
Yeah.
Of course, if you guys are doing any kind of investigation, you kind of touched on a possibility that there might be some foul play here. Maybe she was carjacked. Maybe Miss Rand is fined and somebody run off the road with her car. In any case, I can let you see her effects, but I can't let you take them.
Oh, that's
Of
understandable.
course, they're evidence, but yeah, sure. So he calls out Deputy Washington. Come in here. Deputy Washington comes in. He says, "Yes, sir." And he says, "Show these people into the conference room and bring in Miss Rand's effects so that they can go over them." "Yes, sir." He says, "You can follow him to the conference room."
Thank you kindly, Sheriff. We heard from Alice that this is Bigfoot country. Had any sightings lately?
If you read the newspaper, people are always putting stuff in the newspaper about them. We have a group of kids that come out here every once in a while and go looking around for the Bigfoot.
Sound like a bunch of fun-loving people.
Well, mostly they're just passing through, though. Most of the sightings that have occurred lately, if you believe any of that stuff, that's all over towards Renuncion.
Right.
That's another 15 miles up the road.
We appreciate your hospitality.
Sure.
If we can figure anything out, we'll tell you.
You got it. And I just
was the deputy showing us to the room? Was he one of the ones that went out there?
Yes.
Okay. So when you looked at the car, was there any scratching? Like
Oh yeah, lots of scratches. Scratches and denting and pretty badly damaged. But something tore that roof off. I don't know what. It looked like it got snagged on a tree as it went down, but I didn't see any tree that would fit that bill.
Was the roof lying on the ground, or was it torn off partly, opened up?
It was partly torn open.
Like a can. Gotcha.
Yeah, like a can.
Did you notice if any of the scratches were kind of four parallel scratch marks? Or was it
No,
too beat up
I
to
didn't
tell?
really notice anything. Well, they're going to bring the car in this afternoon.
Okay.
You know.
Hmm.
Of course, you guys, if you leave soon, you could drive out there. You got all day, but you could get out there and see it before they bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might go out with the tow truck.
So here are her things. Here's her wallet and her suitcase and this weird box of paper.
Mm-hmm. I'll go over and look at the box of paper.
All right. What you have is about 12 inches of fan-folded dot matrix paper.
Okay.
It seems to be completely filled with Latin text, and the Latin text is spaced about 1.5 inches apart each line. And it looks like there have been some attempts by someone to translate. How's your Latin?
I have 61%.
Why don't you go ahead and do a Latin roll?
Okay. Trying to think how I could push this roll because that'd be a lot of luck. 87. I got an 87. So
Clean your glasses.
Well, you could push it if you wanted to try pushing it.
Yeah, I want to try and push it. I'm gonna spend a little time. I'm gonna like sound it out loud and everything.
Really,
See if that-
yeah,
Okay,
really beat into
you're
it.
flipping through it. Okay.
Yeah. Come on, baby. Yes.
Okay. Well, the first thing you notice is that whoever translated this, despite their scholarly title, they didn't do a great job. And part of the problem is that classical Latin is not the same as medieval Latin. Medieval Latin is a lot muddier, a lot more diluted by time than classical. And this is definitely not classical. This is a mess. But after looking and thumbing through it, you get to a part that seems to you is pretty well translated.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Transmitted October 25th, 1990. De Vermis Mysterious by Ludwig Prehn, 1592. Translated by Dr. Edwin Weston, property of NWI. The mother of the woods is certainly the force within terrain life, for she is immanent in all earth, yet absent in sky and from the void. Her altar is best situated in a crevice where green and effulgent grows the vegetation, never on a height or promontory. She is best invoked with blood, for blood is the essence of life. She is one who devours, not absorbs, even as the further, and then it's in parentheses, outer ones. But she is more like unto us than those others. I have traveled long and learned much, and it is my firm belief that she is the primal mother. I myself have beheld minute curiosities by the use of lenses, which amazingly remind me of the shape of her greater children. It is possible to propitiate her by sacrifices of blood and flesh? A question mark. The ancients seem to have succeeded in doing so, as I have traveled throughout the world and I have seen in many cultures at that time it was customary to grant her a small portion of the harvest, that she might know it to be good and bring forth a greater harvest again. Greeks and Romans venerated her and were made strong thereby. It was not in ignorance of her men wrested life from the Nile and the rivers of Mesopotamia, Hyperborea, and made fecund with her gifts, and ancient Sarnath, ere its doom, was blessed more and more with her bounty. She cares not on what she feeds, and if she feeds well, she will feast her host in return. What the crap? I mean, heard of Greece and Rome, but Hyperborea? Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if Sarnath was some sort of transcription error. But
Yeah.
I'll be interested to find this Dr. Weston who's sending out copies of this mysterious book on the internet,
Yeah.
on the via fax.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the same book that that Old English came from, right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh.
So she's got a newer translation.
But as Heather noticed, not a very good one, actually.
Right.
Right. Newer original text, problematic translation.
Yeah. Interesting.
But it does show, yeah. Did Lieutenant Jackson come in with us?
No,
is
he's
he-
out talking to the sheriff.
So yeah, it looks like Noel's investigation really closely paralleled Finley's, because this earthly mother with young that's being described sounds a lot like what escaped from the lab to me.
Ugh. Ugh. I don't want to think
And
about
it also suggests, since this is the same text that Old English, that really seems like what Jenny and Noel are hoping to summon on the new moon in a verdant valley nearby here is that
Yeah.
same entity.
Yeah, maybe since they talked about blood, maybe they're thinking about harming someone even.
Right.
Well, why
And
would they need to harm anybody? They took 2 cows. Or she took 2 cows.
Yeah.
that was just one night. And Heather, you may have mentioned that you found a brownish residue on the obsidian.
I did. Yeah.
So, I don't know if we've had time to analyze that or if we even need to, but I wouldn't be surprised if that were blood, dried blood.
Right.
But presumably Jenny and Noel don't have some powerful electromagnets in their Green Valley
Hope not. Oh.
to cage her. Well, all right. So how's her suitcase look? Did she bring extra large clothes for giants?
Nope, just what you'd expect for somebody who planned on staying for a week.
And there isn't any obvious, brick of cash in a side pocket.
Mm-mm.
And her wallet, unsurprising.
Interesting, yeah.
Any phone numbers or anything?
Nope.
No business card for a realtor?
Nope.
I really want to take this text for analysis. Maybe if we find Noel alive, we'll be able to make an arrangement. Or I guess we'll be able to get in touch with Edward Weston. It said property of some university or something. So
NWI. Yeah.
Oh, that's New World Industries.
Oh.
That's the parent company of the parent company. This is...
Ugh,
There's a reason that Full Wilderness is concerned about this family of companies.
Wheels within wheels.
They've got, well, I was wondering how Finley, whether it was a coincidence of geography or something, they trapped this creature, but it seems like it's not. It's more like there's really an organizational push to use these magical philosophical texts for...
Well, whatever they were using it for, we can determine their motives. They were wanting to sell it. They thought they had struck a gold mine. So, I could see them not worrying about what it could cost as long as they made money.
But yes, I'm just going to feel around I'm going to poke around the wallet in the suitcase and see if there's anything else that's worthy of attention.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's basically the evidence and the right.
There's not a false bottom in the suitcase. Any like compartments?
Do a spot hidden.
$67. I found.
No, you don't find anything. There's nothing. I just love doing that.
I know.
Yeah. It makes you feel good when you make it. You're like, okay, there is nothing. Okay. All right.
I'd love to see the wreck in Sty 2. Does anybody else think it's worth getting out there?
I think it is, just because I want to go. I'd like to talk to this Mr. Cartwright.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, when it's just us, I'm going to mention that, this is the second suspicious car found at the bottom, or not at the bottom, but close to a ravine or close to a cliff.
Right. And
Yeah, that's why I was asking about the scratches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as you, Dr. Leach. Was there 4 symmetrical scratches? Obviously, maybe they weren't looking for it because, they just figure branches scratched it up or something. But yeah,
we'll have to see.
All right. Well, you can get from the deputy how to get out there.
Okay.
What you're basically going to do is you're going to drive to Renuncion, and from there is a forestry road that goes out the south side of town up into the mountains. It's not an easy drive. It's a dirt road, but that will take you to Charles Cartwright's place, which is on the service road, and he can show you the exact spot where the car is.
And while the deputy is explaining this, I'm going to ask, where do you think she could have been on her way to if she was coming from San Damiel? That should be on this forestry road to fall into this ravine. Is there any reason to go out there, unless you're going to chop down some lumber?
Yeah, not much. There's a couple of houses along that way, but Cartwright's house is pretty far out there.
Right. It's a pretty lonesome stretch for somebody. Maybe she was lost, but nobody found a map in the car.
No.
That's curiosity.
Is it easy to get turned around on these roads, especially when it's dark?
Well, yeah, that is possible, especially if you're off the beaten path. Well, not for a local, but yeah, maybe for a non-local. And they are dangerous. They're not meant for a lot of traffic.
Yeah, they're not graded for just nobody to drive around on.
It could have possibly been a rock slide too. I mean, there are lots of rocks and boulders. This is partly volcanic and partly the geology of the area.
It's one of the reasons I'm curious to see it. Mr. Cartwright didn't say whether he found the car hot or cold, did he?
Cold, actually. He did check.
So it might have been a few days, as far as anybody knows.
Had her license plate and her the make and model of the car, and it matches Miss Rand's. So I drew you a little map.
Okay.
Thank you, Deputy.
Woo.
And the people of Renuncion are good people, so you can... Did you guys actually make your reservations in Renuncion, didn't you?
I believe so.
GM is saying it.
Yeah, at Laverne's, right?
Laverne's, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 5 deluxe rooms at Laverne's Motel.
That's right.
Ooh, what makes it deluxe? Do they have the...
What makes it
finest
deluxe is the air is thick with cigarette smoke.
They have an ice bucket.
Yeah. Is there because I know I didn't bring it with me, because we left it there. So like a hobby. I'm looking for a place that would sell a tarot deck. And she said this was the last big town, somewhat big town around here. Because of them describing Mr. Cartwright made me think of it.
Well, before I answer that question, are you sure you want to talk to the crazy radical police department about a tarot deck?
No, that's why I was like wondering. I was like, oh, is there like a hobby store or something? They usually had.
And then Heather gets arrested.
Does your character have a tarot deck?
No, I know. Mike, there's no way she would have it.
I was going to say, roll your luck dice if that's something that you'd have.
No, that'd be a stretch for her. No.
I can imagine Flores having one or two at home, but I don't think he brought one on the trip.
Yeah. Considering when they showed, I had to look up what the card was. I was like, oh, what is this?
Are you talking about the card that you found?
Yeah, the Pindu or whatever.
The hanged man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Pendulous, he's hanging.
Ah. But yeah, no, I don't want to ask the cops about where you can get a tarot deck.
Where am I? Oh, it's over there. You didn't see it. All right. So what are you going to do? You going to head to Renuncion?
Yeah. Unless you guys had something else.
All right.
It does go well with our plan. I mean, as long as we can work out the timing. There he is. Because we want to be in Renuncion both to stay the night and also to make our assignation with Jenny and hopefully Noel. So it seems like heading that direction makes a lot of sense.
All right. So you get to Renuncion. There's not much there. There's the motel. There's a tiny little grocery store. There's a little bakery. There's a little bakery, grocery store. There's a gas station. It looks like there's kind of a brand new little business block. The buildings look oddly brand new. Not much to them, but they're there. There's a Barnwell's grocery store. That's what it is. And just as you're coming into town, you do see the Bakersfield Pass Caltrans depot, the one that was supposedly raided by Bigfoot.
Okay.
You come into the middle of the town. Do you want to do anything in the town, or do you want to continue on to the?
You want to drop our stuff off at Laverne's?
Yeah, let's make it, base of operations.
All right, so we'll say that you set up your base of operations at the motel. Let's say it's about 2 p.m. at this point. You drive further. You find after about 15 miles, you find this road going up the mountain, and you're kind of in between two ridges. And after you go up the road a little ways, you see a trailer that has been set up on the side, and from where the road is, the road slopes. I mean, the landscape slopes up in one direction and down the other. And you can see that down one side, on the other side of the trailer, there is a little creek or river. It's not much of a river, it's a creek. And that it's getting steeper and steeper.
Mm-hmm.
And this is pretty green country.
Yeah, it's pine forest at this point.
Pine forest. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And even though this is a logging road, we haven't seen, there are no active businesses right
No,
here.
there's no businesses at all. In fact, the number of houses dwindled rather quickly, and you haven't seen any house for 5 or 6 miles.
Does the trailer have a mailbox?
Yeah, there's a mailbox out in the front, and there is a car. So it
Is
looks like an old, inexpensive car.
So is this the Cartwright place?
Oh, yes, it says Cartwright on there.
Yeah,
The
I
road-
think we
the
should.
road continues on from there, but
I think we should ask Mr. Cartwright if he's free to come along and tell us about how he found the wreck and whatever.
Yeah. All right.
okay.
Might as well.
So you park your car,
Mm-hmm.
and you go up and knock on the door, and you hear some movement around, and you hear, "Just a second." And after a couple of seconds, the door opens, and there is a rather good-looking black man standing there, and he goes, "To whom do I have the honor of meeting out here in the middle of nowhere?"
Mr. Cartwright, I presume. My name is Dr. Heather Mills. We were sent out here by the sheriff to look at the wreck that you discovered.
Oh, what are you a doctor of?
Oh, biology. Actually.
Me too. How I specialize in herpetology.
Oh, wow. What a small world it is out there.
Mycology here. We're actually looking into some various matters for full wilderness. Are you familiar?
Oh yeah, full wilderness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah,
feel honored
there's-
to have you guys out here.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet
Come
you.
inside, please. Come inside. It's very hot.
Oh, yes.
Is it cooler inside the trailer?
He's got the air conditioning going full blast. You also notice he's got fish tanks here and there without fish. He's got various reptiles.
Oh, okay.
So
Imagine the
there's
air
that.
conditioning helps keep the reptiles manageable.
Well, and it's probably a little too hot outside for some of these, but there's also that smell
Mm-hmm.
of reptile.
Mm-hmm.
Like-
Yeah.
And he says, "So, you said you came up here because the sheriff. You talk about the car."
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, that it turns out that that the license you found in the vehicle is of a person who's gone missing from San Damiel. We were doing some, I don't know what to call it, investigations into troubling goings on. So we don't know whether the young lady in question is in danger. But it's not the first vehicle we've seen this week whose owner has gone missing and who were involved in experimentation, biological experimentation. So something screwy is happening.
Wow.
I want to see if there's some correlation.
Well, I couldn't find a body, but I don't see how anybody could have survived that crash.
Yeah. The way it was described, it sounded like, the roof ripped off.
Well, it's at least 100 feet down there. Of course, you rolled. It's not straight down, but
yeah.
Yeah, we can go out there if you want.
Sure. And while I'm talking, I'm kind of looking at the lizards. I'm looking for a lizard that's maybe, not that's rare to try and go, oh, where'd you get this from?
It looks like most everything that he has is probably local.
Okay, yeah. That'd be stretching to go, oh, where'd you find this local lizard?
He's got some.
I found it locally.
He's got some alligator lizards, and he's got some garter snakes and things like that.
Right. Okay.
Anything venomous?
No, it doesn't look like it. But if you guys ask him any questions, he tells you that he's out here on a grant from the University of San Diego, and that he has been studying the Crotalus oregonus species. He thinks there's a subspecies here that, if he can identify it,
Get your name in
he
Latin.
wants to get his name in Latin, which would be, in his case, he says Caroli on the end, because Charles is really Carl, and Carl is Carol in Latin, so Caroli. But yeah, he says, I've loved snakes ever since I was a kid and had my first garter snake.
I understand.
But he says,
Since-
sure.
Yeah, if you don't mind the heat, we'd love to see the location and get a lay of things. Because again, we're comparing it to another missing person and damaged car situation.
Well, the sheriff said they were going to be coming up here sometime this afternoon and hauling that car out. But yeah, we can get up there before then.
Yeah, I'd love to see it where it is.
Let's get some lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
You're very kind.
He puts together some lemonade and says we can take
Now we
this
can
with us.
probably
if we
use the
go.
electrolytes.
It'll probably take us about 20 minutes to walk up there.
We wouldn't want to drive up to the edge and then just crawl down, or is it makes more
Yes,
sense
well, we
to?
could do that, but obviously it's kind of narrow.
Fair
And
enough.
it looks to me like the road was a little bit damaged by by her going up there. We could drive part of the way if you want, but it's a nice walk.
Excellent. Yeah, as you will. You walk around here a lot.
Yeah.
I understand.
All up and
And
down
there's
the
all
valley.
this crazy Bigfoot sightings that we have heard about. Have you seen anything that
Oh,
makes you
please,
think that
yes.
there's a big primate out here?
Yeah, there's a San Damiel Society, the Sasquatch Watch. They come up here about once a month and bug me.
Do they make loud noise and
No, not so
Scare
much,
stuff off?
but they're kind of nerdy, and I've gone out there near the black table, we sometimes call it,
Oh,
and I mean, I've seen things that look like footprints, and but it's mostly what I'm looking for is snakes.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
How far away is that black table?
Oh, it's not that far.
Okay, yeah.
It's down in the valley.
Is it? Do you call it that? Is it like? Is it flat?
Well, it's a big flat rock. Yeah, I
Great.
think it's made out of granite. It's got a dark color to it. It's right in the middle of a ravine.
Nice. Oh. Right. Well,
I can show you that if you want to, but that's another half hour's walk. But let's go see the car.
yeah. Let's go see.
like, thanks for lemonade?
First things first.
I can't believe you guys know who the Sasquatch Watch is. Bunch of
You hear about it.
I'm a scientist. I'm not into all this silly, nonsensical crypto. And how could a creature, as the Bigfoot's described, survive out in the woods here? And there's just not enough to sustain. It couldn't just be one. It would have to be a whole tribe of them.
Yeah.
So you guys leave, and he doesn't bother to lock the door.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody out here. And you guys start walking up the gravel path. The gravel quickly turns to dirt, and it's kind of steep. It's not that steep, but it's constantly progressing upwards. And after about 20 minutes or so walking, he says, "This is the spot over here. You can see where the gravel's all disturbed."
And is it wooded here, or is it an open patch?
No, it's still wooded. But like I say, you've got down into the ravine on one side. Here's the path, and there's up into the hills, and it's covered with trees. But on the ravine side, there's less. There's more scrub brush and stuff.
Right. There are always going to be things falling down.
Sure. Yeah. And I'd like you to all do a spot hidden roll as you come up.
43 is a normal success.
I failed.
Failed.
A 35 is a hard success.
Okay.
Fail here.
Well, Margaret and Desmond, you notice that there are very distinctive drag marks in the road. Under other circumstances, you'd almost say skid marks, except they don't look like skid marks. They look like they moved sideways, like something pushed the car over the ravine, not forward, but sideways.
Right. Is there any shards of glass and stuff among the gravel?
There are pieces of windshield that have been smashed, and but not like broken headlights, just windshields. And
Right.
then he points down, and you can see that the car slid off and then maybe tumbled once and hit the bottom. And you can see that the roof of it is torn up, you know.
Even from up here, we can see that.
Oh, yeah.
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 Away from our friendly host, Mr. Cartwright, I'm going to mention maybe just to Margaret, since we are the ones who spotted the thing. I'm afraid that Jenny and Noel aren't friends anymore.
Yes, that's the
Because
impression
Doesn't
I'm
this
getting.
look like Jenny pounced on her, tore the car
Yeah.
open, took her
Yes.
out, and shoved it down the hill?
That's exactly what it looks like to me.
Mm.
'Cause if you look, because the trees aren't damaged either, so where the windshield is, there isn't like any marks where like a car would have struck a tree, right?
Yeah, you don't see any place like that. There's no damaged trees or anything nearby.
But this is dirt and loose stone. I can't find any footprints, though. I am assuming.
Well, do
Further examination.
a spot hidden for me.
81, of course.
You don't see anything
Timing is everything.
now.
What direction is the car facing?
Well, it's kind of facing backwards just because of the way it fell. Cartwright says to you, he says, now we can get down to it. He says, I'll show you how I got down to it. And he just sort of works his way over towards the cliff's edge, and there's places where you can put your hands and sort of, it's not straight down, it's, at an angle, but a person can make
Back
it
your way down.
Yeah. If we bring that rope, maybe we just tie it
It's
off
in-
as like a little safety thing or something.
Yeah, you can do that. That'll make it easier to get back up.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Cartwright, has it been raining up here?
Lately, no, not for a couple of weeks.
Right, because the heat wave. You thought that the car going off damaged the road, not that the road was already in bad shape. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's pretty hard packed clay too. So,
And if you were some stranger from San Damiel driving up here, where would you be going, do you think?
well, I honestly don't know. The only thing up that road there is there's a cabin a ways up there.
A more
Beyond
remote
that,
cabin.
I think the road ends.
So there's a place more remote than yours that somebody's living in up here.
Yeah, it's a more permanent place, I think.
Is he a good neighbor?
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen him.
But he must drive past your place.
I've never seen anybody drive from up there before. Yeah, so this is really kind of a mystery.
Is it like a hunting cabin or is it?
No, it's actually fairly well. It's a fairly modern looking place.
You've been up there?
I've only gone up there and seen it maybe once. But
And you didn't notice this car go by when she was on her way to slide off the cliff either, right?
it's possible that I wasn't there. It's possible that I was
Out walking.
out walking or looking for snakes.
Yeah.
I don't spend all my time at home. That's just it's For one thing, it's beautiful up here.
Yes, it is quite lovely. So is the black table that the Sasquatch Watch is so obsessed with, is it in this ravine? Or
And he sort of says, it's not exactly, but he points over and he says, you see over in that direction, my sonar says it's right over there. There's that place where those two hills kind of come together, kind of tightly.
okay, yeah.
It's right at the base of that. We can, like I say, it would take us a little bit to walk there, but we can do that.
Sure.
So here's a car. You can see that it's odd that there's no. I don't think the person was in the car when it came down here. Maybe it's insurance. Maybe she is just trying to crash her car and collect on the insurance.
Yeah, possible.
Could be it.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly are you guys doing at this point? Describe. Let's see, Dr. Ethan, what are you doing at the moment?
I'm just kind of observing, looking around.
Okay. Dr. Mills?
I am so we're at the car looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm looking around. What I'm looking for is see if it's got those same initials carved into it that was on Dr. Tate's car, the BOF.
Okay. It looks quite a bit different than.
Okay.
It
All
doesn't have little scratches all over it.
All right.
The damage to it is major.
Yeah.
Dr. Margaret, what are you doing?
I'm feeling really uneasy after what Desmond and I have discussed. So I'm kind of nervously kind of at the edge of the group, looking, kind of leaning towards where the black stone is, and then I'm leaning back over towards where the cabin's supposed to be, and I'm kind of just looking off in that direction.
Okay. Dr. Leash?
So I'm going to look under the seats of the car, see if the deputies missed anything.
Okay. All you find under the seats are a couple of old water bottles that are empty, and whatever little bits of trash that you might expect to find. An old Doritos bag and whatever. Nothing particular. Dr. Flores, what are you doing?
Well, I'm looking at I want to look closely at the roof of the car to see whether there's any indication that there's there's
Okay.
scarring or denting that indicates something like what I anticipate.
There definitely looks like a pattern of tear. And as you're looking at that, do a spot hidden. It's spot hidden.
23 is good.
Okay.
23 is very good.
As you're looking at that, you glance slightly over and you realize that there is an indentation in the hood of the car that looks like a
Foot-shaped
print.
hand.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. All right.
But a hand at least 3 times the human size.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what the falling out is about. Maybe it's because she needs a blood offering. I don't say out loud. I'm going to mumble about looking for paint marks on the hillside, and I'm going to give Margaret the nod and ask her to verify if I'm crazy or not.
Yeah, I'll go take a look.
Yeah, once you know what to look for, there it is.
Yeah, Desmond, I think your theory about them not being friends anymore is
Which
an
means
accurate one.
I really think that we should make sure that we all have at least the armament of the endurance chant, because Jenny is on a rampage, and tonight is the night.
As much as it bothers me, I think, yeah, but if she can do this to a car, I think we need.
And a friend.
It might.
A friend that was keeping her alive financially.
Right. But it means life or death, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll tell the gang when we have the opportunity. I would be interested in having Mr. Cartwright take us to the Black Table if he's up for it.
Yes, I think
so. I don't want to spook him yet.
Right, and then that cabin.
Yeah.
What do you think? She was. Where else would she be going?
Right, and can she even fit inside it? And what's she when she's living on cows?
Right, and Noelle. Right, Noelle was going there.
Emphasis on was.
Maybe as her, whatever effects are happening to Jenny, perhaps as they progress, she's gotten more aggressive.
Maybe we should go to the cabin and not the Black Table.
Yeah, we know I have a pretty good idea of where the table is. I think we can find our way there. I think without our doctor friend down there, we'll have a difficulty finding the cabin. So maybe we should have.
Well, no, it's the end of the road. My suggestion is that I take Mr. Cartwright aside and ask him about some local reptiles or mycology, and you talk to the rest of the crew. But my impression is we should get to the cabin and see if Noelle's still there alive, because she might be upon sacrifice tonight.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great idea.
Mr. Cartwright, I see an interesting hole over there on the edge. Something might live in there.
Well, let's take a look.
Let us.
Look, a distraction.
Yeah, I'll gather everybody together. Like, guys.
Well, guys, I found a Dorito bag.
Well, look, you found a Dorito bag. Desmond found a handprint, and I'm going to show him the indent of the hand on the. Look, if you look at the gravel up there, it looks like the card was shoved off sideways. We think that Desmond and I think we've come to the conclusion that we don't think that Jenny is totally stable at this point. She might have attacked Noelle.
Interesting. Yeah,
So
that seems like a reasonable conclusion to me.
But Noelle, if Noelle was going up to that cabin, you think Jenny might be living up there?
I mean, that would make the only sense why she would be on this deserted road.
Right. So, but maybe Noelle is still there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Jenny took her back there.
I mean, at this point, we have to look just so we could rule it out if she's not.
Yeah. Do we want to try and look through Mr. Cartwright's trailer? Maybe have someone break off and go back?
Not yet.
I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
I think we'd better focus our efforts on the cabin for now.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yep.
Did you find anything interesting over there?
Well, it's possible this is a tarantula hole, not a snake hole. But
how big do those get around here?
Tarantulas, fairly good size. They're not like the South American varieties, but size of your hand.
Oh.
Yeah, I had one chase me in Bolivia. It scared the holy heck out of me. I don't think it was angry. They're just big and scary and fast.
Pretty much harmless, though. Get bit, it's like getting bit by it's like a bee sting. Unless you're allergic.
Right.
Okay.
So did you want to go to the table? Or it's pretty hot?
It's pretty hot, but I do think we'll go and visit there later. Do you think it'd be very rude if we paid a visit to the cabin up the hill?
I don't know. Maybe they know something about this.
Right. They might have seen when the road went out, at least. So yeah, let's walk back to your place and we'll see if your neighbor's got anything, knows anything. Maybe we'll make another friend.
I'm not sure I understand. Did you want to go back to my place, or did you want to?
Oh, I thought, well, we have to go back up to the road to continue up to the cabin.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go back up. That rope's a good idea. Makes it easier to get back up.
Makes it so much more easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been stuck down on steep hills before, so.
About now, is he going to go with you to the cabin?
Well, that's kind of why I was suggesting that we might drop him off at his home and let him go back to his business before we bothered his neighbor.
I can walk back down by myself.
Oh, okay.
I do this all the time, and that cabin's just keep going straight up. You can't miss it. But it's a few miles, so it's going to take you a bit to get there.
Oh, that's fine. I love hiking. Thank you so much.
Right.
All right. That car's not going to be in your way, Mr. Hetley?
Oh no, I ain't
Okay.
going anywhere.
All right.
And as he gets about 100 feet away from me, he suddenly turns around and he goes, "I remember something."
Hmm.
He says, "I think there was another car."
Oh, really?
I did hear somebody come up this direction. It was maybe about 6:00 in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think anything of it at the time, and I didn't bother. I didn't have time to like get up and take a look. But it just sounded like a car went by, and then maybe 20 minutes later, the car went by going back down the hill.
Well, that's interesting. With the idea that Noelle let this car fall on purpose, like maybe she had an accomplice.
Maybe it's weird, but
You must not hear cars most days, right?
most of the time I'm not just sitting there. But
Sure.
you know, I didn't really think about anything about it. You know, it just that was before I saw the car in the ravine.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a nice walk.
All right.
Been great to meet you.
If you want to stop by on the way back down.
He didn't have any reaction when I purposely called him the wrong name.
What'd you call him?
Called him
Hentley.
Mr. Hetley, like it was in that Tate's book.
I don't think he heard you.
Oh, okay. I'll try it again when I come back down.
Another handsome African-American man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mentioned previously.
Just wait until you get the handsome Black American man convention.
Yeah. Mr. Hetley.
All
We'll
right.
find him eventually.
Heather would love that convention.
All right. So you continue up the road, and the road gets a little steeper, and it starts to do a lot of little switchbacks. You're coming up the squiggle on the left-hand side, and there's a cliff that drops down to the creek down below.
Yeah, we really
Yeah.
did lose our way.
And as you're approaching this, you can see there's an area that's somewhat devoid of plants, except there's weeds and things. You can see there's a garage, and there's a 2-story cabin. And because now it's probably about 3:30 or so, maybe it's approaching 4:00. The shadows have gotten long just because there's lots of trees and the mountain. And so you're in the shade. You can see that there is a light on upstairs in the house. But you're still at the edge of that clearing area, because I don't want to just say that you're suddenly there, because I want you to be able to figure out what you want to do.
Well, do we just go and knock?
Yeah. Do we hear a generator for the light? Is it electric? Does it look like it's an electrical light?
It does look like it's an electrical light.
It can't be on the grid out here.
Well, it's possible. I mean,
Maybe depending on how the logging.
Cartwright was on the grid.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Are there telephone poles?
there aren't. So it would have to be buried. There is a mailbox.
Okay.
So,
Is there mail in it?
Well,
do we want to get that close before we talk about things?
yeah.
Like, I
let's
think
say
we
you're
should
still at least 100 feet away from it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think we should look at the barn as well as the house. I think we should approach this with the assumption that Jenny's nearby, if not inside. That Jenny
Is
presumably killed Noelle or captured her.
But I mean, does it look like? I mean, Jenny. I mean, if her hand's 3 times the size of a person's hand, I mean, have to be a
Might be
door.
in the garage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hadn't thought of that.
How tall is the garage?
Oh, 13, maybe 14 feet at the peak.
I don't think Jenny's been sleeping indoors particularly either. My hypothesis, which is completely insane, a grant, is that because the text that you saw translated, Jenny thinks she needs a blood sacrifice. When Noelle came up to visit her, she attacked the car on the road,
Mm-hmm.
tore the roof off, took Noelle out, shoved it off the side. And Noelle is somewhere inside the house, conscious or unconscious, trapped. And Jenny is nearby. I'm guessing about all of that, except for the fact that I think it's reasonable to assume that Jenny caused the car to be in the condition it is.
Right. Yeah.
So we want to be careful.
Yeah.
Noelle knows the spell.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenny's, at this point, if her hand is 3 times the normal size, and she was a giant bodybuilder when she vanished, and she was over 7 foot tall at that point.
Yeah.
She's a good, 15 feet tall, which might be challenging her ability to stand upright on her femur unless her body's changed a lot, She might be on 4 limbs. I don't know. But I don't want to meet her by surprise.
No.
Those are my thoughts.
We should be very cautious then. Don't want to make a whole lot of noise and listen very closely. Keep our eyes peeled.
Okay.
Do you have your train rifle, Dr. Carlisle?
Yes, I do.
All right, I'm not sure how much good that will do us, but it's better than nothing, I suppose.
Might take a couple shots if she's that big.
Yeah.
If it comes down to shooting, just I don't know. Make her chase you, and I'll just try and get as many shots in as I can.
And then there's the other question, should I walk into this clearing and chant the endurance chant, which will suggest that they know that we're maybe friendlies, and also that we're that we're not, that we're inside in some way. That might just be that might facilitate a conversation. I have no idea what they're.
Maybe that might help with Noelle, perhaps. But if Jenny attacked her own, what I consider her best friend, I'm not sure what a stranger saying as reading that's going to do.
Right. Well, her best friend on Lifeline. At the same time, I might survive Jenny's initial attack if I do.
Yeah.
Assuming that Jenny attacked the car suddenly, I mean, it took me, 20 seconds to recite that.
Yeah.
She's memorized it, but it still takes time. I don't know. This is a very...
Maybe I could get to a prone position that I could see the front door, the windows or whatever, and be ready, not walk up and then have to take it out. And, we'll worst case scenario it, and then maybe even throw a rock at the door and see what comes out before you go all the way up to the door or something.
Yeah.
I certainly think that positioning you as a sort of sniper is totally reasonable. Because this is not a huge distance, so yeah, covering us is rational. But we could also, we could send, we could, any one of us could walk up to the door and knock and say, "Wow, we were wandering in this beautiful valley and got lost."
Yeah, we could just go, hey, we're from the city. We didn't bring enough water or something. Hey, we're
Yeah, maybe a non-confrontational initial role, it makes sense. Like, hey, sorry, we were seeing Mr. Cartwright. We walked up here. Do you know where the black table is?
Yeah, we're from the Sasquatch Society. They've been singing up here before. And we are.
Or were we sent by the Sasquatch Society? We've never been here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're lost.
Yeah. All right. I'll go up there and knock if you guys think that's a plan. As long as you got my back there, Dr. Carlisle.
Yeah, I was gonna say first. Let me try and find a place to set up.
Yeah, and I'm going to pull out the endurance chant and have it in hand,
Right.
so that I can intervene.
Okay, Dr. Carlisle, where are you going to sequester yourself?
I want to see if I can get myself with the best line of sight to the garage and the doors, and the front door or windows. And from what I was able to look up, the rifle, it has 50-yard range and it could hold up to 6 shots.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
That's the best I could find on it.
All right, we'll assume that you can get into a position where you can see both. You're kind of guessing that if something comes out and is hostile, you can hit it. That seems reasonable enough.
Okay.
Dr. Evans, Mills, Flores, and Liege, what are you guys doing?
Well, I was going to be the one that is going to walk up there.
Okay.
So.
We'll say this. I'm kind of setting this up so that everything is in. I'm not setting it up for that reason. I'm just setting it up so that things are happening all at the same time. So.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like after Dr. Carlisle finds a position, we emerge from that path into the open, and 3 of us are sort of standing around looking at a map or a booklet or whatever, and Heather splits off to make the approach at the door. So we look as benign as possible while being somewhat prepared. Does that sound good?
Seems reasonable enough.
Sure. Right. And I'm going to have my hand, like the mace spray in my hand, but not have it like ready to spray, but kind of
okay.
When you go into strange places.
So, Dr. Mills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still assuming that everybody's about 50 feet away, and Dr. Mills, you're starting to walk forward towards the house.
Yep.
As you begin to move towards the house, everybody else, you notice Heather suddenly stop in her tracks. Okay. Heather, what you notice is the mailbox that does have J. Armbruster written on it in pink paint in handwriting, except that the mailbox is kind of beat up, and the wooden post that it's attached to, well, do an idea roll.
Okay. Yes, regular.
It looks like something has been gnawing on it.
Mm.
There are marks in the metal, in the metal box that look like teeth marks, only the mouth would have been this way, clamping down on the mailbox. And something's been gnawing at it. You also look up and you see that one of the posts holding up the little thing over the door, the little alcove thing, has also been badly gnawed by something.
Nice. I maybe kind of point at the mailbox, like, hey, look at that, and can I get an estimate on the jaw size or whatever what they call it, bite radius?
Pretty big.
All right.
I mean,
I'm gonna wave her back. I don't think.
you also notice, Dr. Mills, that there is a lighted doorbell
Mm-hmm.
and an intercom on the porch.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back and relay this and be like, hey, it's bid on, but we've got a doorbell and an intercom. I mean,
The teeth marks, they're huge. Do they look like they're in a dog, the bite mark of a dog or a human?
Well, if it was a dog, it would be a huge dog.
But if it were human, it would be a huge human.
Be a huge human.
Right. So, but is it punctury, canine-y?
Well, there are some punctury looking.
And the front ones, are they
It's
flat?
hard to tell. It's not that clear.
yeah.
And it's not does it look like it's been happening for a long time or like it just started happening?
That's hard to tell, but there's a lot of damage. So it's happened probably more than once.
Well, if Jenny's big enough to do that, I don't think she's big enough to fit in there.
Yeah.
I wonder if the cycle of the moon has something to do with it. How long has she been missing? Not
Who are we talking about?
Jenny.
What, about 5 months, somewhere around there?
Yeah, so if it happened multiple times each moon cycle, and we're coming up on it tonight or tomorrow.
Now, let me also describe the garage. The garage is a two-door garage, or a two-car garage, with, those kind of doors in the front.
Mm-hmm.
There is a side door, and there are windows on the sides.
Okay. Pull up the picture.
And there's no lights in the garage right now.
No.
The house has an upper light.
It looks like there's a light on upstairs, yes.
And the garage is dark.
Okay.
Well, hey,
Now-
we survived survived the Dawn Biozyme thing.
Yeah.
Let's be bold.
Yeah,
Yep,
maybe
I'm going to go check to see what's in the mailbox, if there is anything.
I'll look up to the mailbox as well.
You can see how badly it's damaged when you go over there. There are a couple of advertisements for the supermarket in Renuncion, but that's all.
Does it look like I could approach the garage? Because in the picture, it kind of looked like maybe it was somewhat
It's just across
even.
from the house. Yeah.
Yeah, but like maybe come around behind it and try and stay out of the field of view of that window.
Yeah, and it's more wooded on that side.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and come up through them woods and come up maybe behind it and see if I can look in, maybe even see if the door's unlocked. I mean, we're living up here in the middle of nowhere.
When you come up to the door, it's locked, but it doesn't look like a very strong door.
Mm-hmm.
There is a window,
Mm-hmm.
and when you look through the window, there's enough light inside from the other windows that you can see there is a Jeep parked inside.
Okay.
The Jeep top is gone, and Across from you on the wall opposite is a poster. The poster is about 3 foot across and about 6 foot tall. And it is presumably Ginny Armbruster, though it's Ginny Armbruster before any of this happened. Far closer to a poster that you would have seen maybe at the gym,
Right.
at Thor's gym. And it's tacked to the wall opposite. You can't tell very well, but it looks like the Jeep is covered in dust.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
cobwebs. Do a spot hidden for me.
I'll burn 4 luck to make it.
Sure.
All right. Yeah.
There is a logo on the door, on the driver's side door for Don Biozyme.
Okay. I'm going to shoulder the door.
Okay, do a strength roll.
Oh, yeah. That's a regular success.
Easily, you pop it.
Yeah, pop.
It's definitely cobwebby inside.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go in there and see if I see anything else, and of course go up to the Jeep and open up the glove box.
Nothing in particular other than what you might expect to see in a garage. It doesn't look like anybody's been in here for months and months and months. There's nothing in the glove compartment except the owner's manual.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the registration.
Right.
Car is registered for Don Biozyme.
Okay. All right. Okay, then I'll come back out and meet up with everyone.
How crazy would it be to just go up and ring the doorbell?
Well, I mean, that was our plan earlier.
All right. Well, I'm just.
And apparently, there has been a response to us banging around.
Yes. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go ring the doorbell.
I'm gonna come up to the door alongside you, if you don't mind, Dr. Evans,
Oh,
in
please.
case something untoward happens, but out of sight from the door.
After you ring the doorbell, each of you take a step to the side. Like, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if we look up who owns this property, and I bet you it's Don Biozyme.
Yeah, Harold Gall.
Yeah, one of the cast of characters connected.
All right, so you're going to ring the doorbell.
Yep.
You ring the doorbell, and a couple of seconds go by, and then there's a crackling sound from the intercom, and there's a voice, but it's in a whisper, and it says,
Noel, is that you? This is a friend from the city who's trying to escape from Don Biozyme. Is that you, Noel? Or is that you, Jen?
What are you talking about?
Jennifer?
This is Jenny.
Hi, Jennifer. Oh, we've been looking for you for so long.
Who are you?
We're a group of scientists, Jennifer, who are trying to correct what happened. We were sent by Full Wilderness.
You mentioned Noelle. Have you seen her?
We haven't seen her. We're looking for her. Have you seen her?
I'm very worried about her.
Why is that?
Because I haven't seen her.
Did you see her car come up the hill, Jennifer?
I'm sorry. I don't know who you people are.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to alarm you. Of course, we're strangers. And I know that you've had a very difficult year. We followed Noelle here, but she didn't make it all the way, and we're concerned about her well-being. Are you concerned about her well-being?
Yes, but I don't think I should be talking to you.
Jennifer, are you going to the black table tonight?
I think you need to leave.
Do you think that you're in trouble, Jennifer?
You can hear a click.
I'm back
Is it
away.
the click like a click of a gun?
No, like
Or-
she
Lock.
turned the intercom off.
Oh.
All right. I
Well, we
think it's time to
found-
run for the trees.
Yeah, I think we overstayed our welcome.
Does she not know she killed Noelle? That's all right. Run for the trees. That
Yep.
was the short answer.
Run!
Yeah. I think she just hung up on you.
All right, you run for the trees and you hide yourselves there for a few minutes, but nothing happens.
And we commune, we gather around Dr. Carlisle's position. It sounds like she either didn't hurt Noelle, which doesn't make any sense, or she's lost it because of the drugs or whatever.
Now I'm first of all I'm gonna put the rifle down and try and like cover it, so if she's looking out the window she doesn't see somebody laying there with a rifle. But I want to look at the windows, see if something's peeking through, any movement,
Do a
From-
spot hidden for me.
because I'm sure that somebody's gonna look out the window. Ooh, 20, got it finally. First roll of the night.
There's no movement from in the house at all. No
No?
window. No.
Did the house, was there any sound of creaking or stuff when I was talking to her on the intercom?
None whatsoever.
It seemed like she must be static. Or I couldn't tell simply.
Well,
Nope.
the interesting thing about that conversation is she said, "I don't think I should be talking to us."
Yeah.
It's almost like she's concerned that somebody else out here is not so above board.
Right. Or she might simply assume that we're from Don Biazine or
That's true.
what other, or New World Enterprises or whatever else. Although she was still getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So she's, her hands aren't clean in that regard. Tom, can I try a psychology roll to see if I believe that she was concerned about Noelle?
Sure.
I mean, it's not a strong skill anyway. Ah, 91. A fine roll. My 40 psychology did.
Well, even with a bad roll, I mean, she sounded sincere.
Yeah, the impression that I had, the natural impression that I had was that she was.
Of course, it's also extremely hard to read intentions over the intercom.
Yeah.
From a giant.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, do we
break in? We,
um
came all the way up here. Or do we wait and see if she shows up with the
well,
black rock?
she didn't come out. Maybe we could try to get her to talk again.
I might have ruined that with my failure to be charming. But, the question that she turned away from was, are you going to the black table?
Yeah.
And I think we know she is. So maybe we don't need to
Well,
beard the
maybe-
lion in her den.
Well, do we just get out there then and set up
Uh,
something?
Possibly we can be better prepared there to anticipate them.
Maybe if you are gonna talk to her again or at least press the press a button and let her know that Noelle's car was found off a ravine, and then
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't think I ever told her that we
It
had
could be.
the. Yeah, Noelle seemed to be in danger, but
Maybe.
I'm not.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say maybe then if she knows about somebody else up here, maybe she'll spill the beans. Like, oh crap, so and so.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not.
Or maybe she gets episodes and just doesn't remember.
yeah, it's like poking a bear with a stick. But I mean, we're here.
And right now, she seems pretty gentle and pretty forbearing.
Well, at the moment.
But I didn't want to. Yeah, I really didn't want to torture her.
I
Or
didn't mean
make
it for torture, but if she's genuinely concerned about her friend, and her friend car is off a cliff, maybe she'd be willing to come and help look for her or some. I don't know.
But that unless there's two giants here, what we have is a handprint on the hood of the car, a handprint-ish thing on the roof of the car. Like Jennifer threw the car down the hill. It's just that she doesn't remember. I that's my impression.
Right.
And because she's so obviously not herself, that's
Do you
not.
think she's being controlled by something?
Well, possibly. I mean, there might be a compulsion. I don't know.
It
But
sounds. Oh, sorry. Go. Sorry.
it just seems like she doesn't. She seemed to be concerned about her friend, and she also, in terms of proof, seems to have thrown her friend or her friend's car down the hill.
See, when you said that, it made me think of the comic book, The Hulk. Like when he gets enraged and then he don't remember it later.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
She's concerned about Noelle.
Yeah,
But that would mean Noelle isn't in the house, right?
that
That's why I
she
would
didn't
read it.
seem to. Yeah.
So what if Noelle has been tied up or something by the black table?
Right. I think it's time to visit Black Table.
All right.
Right. It's getting, it's late afternoon. It's going to be, it was a 2-mile hike, I think. We were told by Cartwright.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very far.
Yeah, but you switchbacks and whatnot. And yeah, we might. I thought we'd find Noelle in the house, and I don't think we're going to now. So maybe we should hurry there and see what we can do.
Agreed.
Unless someone has a better idea.
Well, are there windows that can be looked in on the ground level?
All of the ground level window curtains are closed. All of the curtains on the upper level are closed too, except there's one that's open enough where you can see a light bulb up there that's burning. Well, you can see a light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we could.
How old is the cabin?
It actually looks like it's fairly modern. Maybe
So it
built-
doesn't make a lot of noise when big people move around in it, probably.
Probably not.
Could we get to the garage roof and look in that window?
Well, I think if we want to look inside the house, it looks like nobody's been in the garage. If
Yeah.
somebody waited in the garage, Jenny leaves to do whatever it is that she's going to do out at the Black Stone.
That's what I was
slipping
thinking.
at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Margaret. I think that's a good idea. I can wait in the garage. I've had a lot of success breaking
But if
doors down.
we still have the radios that we use for the break-in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how
we
far.
could split up. That's terrifying at the thought that is. We could.
Yeah.
And Tom is this over?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll wait here. I'll wait in the garage.
All right. Well, I don't think you should wait here alone. So
Girls' night out.
yep. Let's wait.
So Margaret and Heather are going to stay in the garage.
Yep.
And what are the three of you doing? The other three.
Well, let's go for a hike.
Yeah, suit up however we can and head down to the black table.
Okay, so the boys are going to the table and the girls are staying.
Yeah.
All right.
It
And
appears.
we'll say it's 4 o'clock, so you're going to have quite a while to wait in the garage.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I am gonna look in the Jeep, see if there's the keys. You know, so the typical horror movie cliche underneath the
The keys
visor.
are actually in the Jeep.
Oh, all right. Well, if we got to get out of here, Margaret.
Yeah, hopefully it still works.
Details.
All right, I'm gonna look. Is there anything like a hammer or some kind of thing I could defend myself with if push really came to shove?
Sure, there's stuff that you'd find.
Improvised weapon and type of things.
There's a shovel. There's a rake. There's a. Sure, why not?
Okay.
Although it doesn't look like she's done any gardening, so.
No torches and pitchforks.
Up
Right.
in the cabin, there'd probably be an axe if they're going to cut firewood.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm just gonna grab whatever is something because I don't have anything. So
Once I
I'm
see
gonna
Margaret do
grab
that,
something.
All right, so let's do this since we're short on time. Dr. Carlisle, Dr. Flores, and Dr. Leash, you are on your way to the black table. Dr. Evans and Dr. Mills, you're in the garage. And as the sun goes down, Dr. Heather and Dr. Margaret, you hear a noise outside that sounds like somebody walking up the road. And are you in the garage?
yeah.
Yeah.
When you look out the window, you see Chuck.
Oh, I knew that son of a bitch.
Only
Oh, he never came back.
he's looking around like he's looking for you guys. Because you guys parked your car at his house.
Oh shit.
Yep.
No. We got to stick with the plan, Margaret. I don't trust him anyway.
All right. So you see him walking up towards the house. He's walking by the garage in front of you. Do you want to do anything or you don't have
Tell if he'll give us away, baby.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh gosh.
All right. So he walks past the garage and he walks up the stoop, and you can see him looking at the mailbox and stuff, and looking around at the gardens that have all gone to weeds, and it looks kind of odd. And you can see the light upstairs. Now it's even easier to see it because it's lit. And you see him walk up onto the front porch, and he pushes the button. And you can hear him saying something, and about the only thing that you get out of it is towards after a couple of minutes of conversation, he says, "Sorry to bother you." And he turns around and starts walking back, and he looks kind of perplexed for a moment, and then he starts walking rather briskly back down the hill. And I guess you can't read minds, but you have a funny feeling that maybe he's thinking, well, they must have gone to the table.
Yep.
So he leaves. And I think that's where we're going to end it. That's a good spot right there.
Well, at least we have someone who might find us should things go horribly awry.
Yeah. Somebody knows you're up there.
Right? It's better than not.
All right. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, Brian Daly, Keith Craig, Jason Melanchok, and David Gassaway, with yours truly as a keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing up to 5 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd also like to support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.